I'm Catherine Thompson, Technology Analyst at Edison, and I'm here today with David Guyatt, CEO, and Rupert Hutton, CFO of Osirium. You've just reported your 2020 results. David, could you just talk us through the highlights of 2020?
Certainly, Catherine, and thanks very much. Since we last updated you, I think we're continuing to navigate our way through COVID, of course, with the 21st of June coming up. But you might remember that we had a record Q1 last year. That's Q1 2020. But then, of course, COVID arrived on the scene and we had to take action. So, immediately we moved everyone to home working. We introduced a whole range of cost controls, but we did not furlough anybody because everyone's busy. We certainly pivoted all of our sales and marketing events to the digital domain. That's a really successful transformation, that was. Out went exhibitions and conferences, and in came much better targeted digital marketing campaigns, virtualized webinars and customer forums too. And we actually saved a huge amount of cash as well. In fact, we ended up the year with more cash than our original budget proposed. We also focused most of our resources on our core PAM platform rather than our two new automation and endpoint management products that we were very close to releasing at that time. So after that record Q1, and despite COVID slowing down new customer acquisitions in Q2 and Q3 of 2020, we still managed our 100% renewal rate. And by the time Q4 arrived, customers had worked out their own COVID coping plans, and we'd spent our lockdown energies on recapturing that record Q1 momentum, and actually ended up delivering a record Q4 to finish off 2020 as well. So, with that, I'm pleased to say that that momentum has continued into 2021, and we delivered another record quarter with 25 new customers in Q1. So I feel we have never been in a stronger position, quite frankly. I mean, we continue to expand our world-class customer base, spanning sectors such as finance, telecoms, retail, insurance, NHS, government, critical national infrastructure, universities, and so on. The list goes on, in fact, manufacturing, utilities, blue light services, and of course, healthcare also is a key target market for us. And we continue to provide exciting opportunities with a number of deals signed with healthcare providers in the public and private sectors. For example, back in December 2020, NHS England announced major funding via NHS Digital for PAM projects to protect backups targeted in ransomware attacks. And so that's one example where we've immediately targeted this opportunity with the energy it deserves. And I think there's a question later on that I could deal with that perhaps in a bit more detail.
In fact, it's the next question. So with cybersecurity in the news a lot recently, with ransomware attacks causing disruption to critical infrastructure and working from home during the pandemic bringing another set of security challenges, could you talk us through what this has meant for interest in your technology?
Well, yes, these ransomware attacks are really making an impact on the cybersecurity industry. First and foremost, though, I mean, the growing number of successful ransomware attacks demonstrates that current antivirus and malware protection of endpoints is simply not sufficient. Furthermore, cyber criminals have now worked out that organizations can avoid paying a ransom by successfully recovering from a backup. And as a result, these ransomware threats has rapidly become much more sophisticated in terms of the different types and volume of attacks being made. And customers are realizing that it doesn't just happen to other people. As an example, in late 2020, the UK government's Cybersecurity Centre, the NCSC as it's known, advised all public and commercial organisations to take action and protect backups by using PAM. And Osirium's PAM stops the escalation of ransomware by creating what we call a virtual gap that prevents infected user systems from inadvertently spreading infections to critical systems. In response, Osirium created a software and service backup protection package that can be deployed in just one day. It quickly addressed the immediate ransomware escalation problem, whilst providing a scalable platform for organizations to expand their PAM deployment into broader cybersecurity protection projects. Well, we took part in a government-sponsored NHS digital grant program that resulted in 25 separate new NHS hospital trusts deploying Osirium's PAM product for backup protection as a phase 1 deployment. And this has now resulted in a new product capability for Osirium, actually, and which is a ransomware protection product, which is now available to all commercial and public sector organizations and is actively being marketed by us right now. Such has been the success of this backup protection package. Our professional services team have been helping these NHS trusts extend their PAM protection, not just for their backup systems, but into their larger IT infrastructures, where our privileged process automation and endpoint management solutions can offer even greater protection and coverage for them. And in terms of the remote working aspects of COVID, the enforced and massive increase in working from home during the pandemic has highlighted that access to critical systems within the building was considered to be safe by management. But pre-pandemic, generally everyone inside an organization's firewalls were trusted, and everyone outside was not, i.e. remote employees actually used a VPN to make them look like they were coming in from the inside. So as the concept of inside and outside loses meaning with the advent of SaaS solutions and cloud infrastructure services, such as Azure and AWS, for example, the fact that so many employees have been forced to work from home during the pandemic, i.e. they're calling in on the outside, this has rapidly accelerated the case whereby the location of a user or its application cannot be taken as any indicator of the trust they should be given. This has led to a zero trust approach, which Osirium PAM helps achieve through our virtual gap method. And it provides between a non-privileged user and their privileged access to systems. Furthermore, wholesale remote working during the pandemic has led to ever-increasing security burden on companies without a significant increase in the staff available to carry out that burden. And as a result, automation is increasingly seen as an answer to the problem, because it can enable service desk users and actually even end users themselves to do some of the work that scarce privileged IT admin staff used to do, but aren't available to do. So this is where Osirium automation product really makes a difference. It's a transformational one at that as well, because Osirium's automation allows lesser privileged users to perform privileged tasks for themselves rather than having to wait for others.
Could you update us on progress with channel and technology partners?
One of our most strategic priorities for 2021 is in fact continuing to build our channel program. That is, to expand our market coverage and Osirium's brand awareness, and ultimately to increase our virtual sales force. Our European map currently has well over 20 channel partners in 7 countries. And actually, if you'd look back at the map back in January 2020, we'd see just 6 partners in the UK and 1 in the Middle East. So we're making significant progress in this regard. We recruited a European channel manager that joined us early 2020, and he's starting to really make a difference. Now, regarding our technology partners, we will continue to have, really healthy interaction with all our vendor partners. So our API tools will continue to be enhanced in order to broaden that integration with so many different vendor products. Vendors like Cisco, Microsoft, SailPoint, etc. They're all valuable partners that we wish to interact with.
And could you give us an update on your product roadmap?
We're constantly reviewing our priorities, Catherine, upgrading our current feature set, and not forgetting that genuine innovation and available engineering resources are both valuable and costly, of course. Our patent program, again, has delivered another patent grant for the company, this time protecting the loss of future passwords. I shall choose not to try and explain that one, but I have the patent reference if you're particularly interested in learning more. Our product roadmap requirements will continue to grow and evolve this year, just as it did for us in 2020. And with that ongoing focus on delivering in even easier to deploy and simpler to use privileged security products. And to give you some examples, at the last update, I can remember we mentioned our clustering capability. We're up and coming. It was about to be released, I seem to remember, which provides high availability PAM to our customers. Well, here we are. Next year, the clustering has been installed at quite a few customers now in the past 6 months, and it's worth mentioning that right now that Osirium is the only PAM vendor that offers clustering out of the box. It really provides yet another critical differentiator for us when compared to the competition. And we have plans for more, much more. We're enhancing our just-in-time approval processes. We're productizing our patent-led capability called Password Plus One. That's a patent that's been granted, by the way. And as it's been granted, we're now building it. So it's fully leveraging the value that we're researching. We're adding built-in TOTP MFA, where TOP stands for time-based one-time passwords, and MFA is multi-factor authentication. We've had MFA for some considerable time. It's just enhancing this capability. And again, our APIs get enhanced as well. And we're always working on polishing our UX, our user experience, as we call it, because that continues to be our most significant competitive advantage. We really are easy and simple to deploy and use when PAM can be quite a complicated deployment.
And finally, to wrap up, could you discuss the company's outlook on both a short and a medium-term basis?
Well, bearing in mind that the computing world is migrating to cloud-based infrastructure services such as Azure and AWS, I mean, I actually see nothing other than an even greater emphasis on privileged account security. You know, this hybridized cloud to start with will continue to be the challenge. So we'll continue to deliver against our strategic objectives, accelerating growth in our customer numbers through making sure that our solutions remain simple and easy to work with, maintaining our upsell and cross-sell philosophy. Others call it land and expand, but our SaaS-based licensing model, along with our significant expansion of our channel partners, our sales channels in the UK and mainland Europe. It's now recognized, of course, privileged access security is one of the key cybersecurity essentials for any organization. Time and time again, our customers have chosen Osirium's PAM solution because it's easy to use and simple to deploy, as well as the quality of our customer support. And then alongside that, we provide that major difference that sets us apart, I think. We have absolute confidence in our built-for-purpose product portfolio and the huge market that we're targeting. The size of the opportunity for us just seems to us to keep expanding.
And Rupert, could you talk us through the company's financial performance in 2020?
Yeah, as David said, despite the pandemic, we're able to increase revenues by 22% to 1.3 million, bookings to 1.57. We actually managed to add 16 new customers. We had a record first and fourth quarter, but we did have a bit of a slowdown in Q2 and Q3, along with most of the UK. We actually managed to reduce our operating loss to 2.88 million, and we did that through a range of means of, we reduced salaries to 80% when COVID hit, and there was obviously operational savings. We've transformed our marketing to a digital marketing platform, and that actually saved a lot of money by the shows not being run. But we're looking to start attending the shows again this year. We actually had a decent cash balance at the end of the year of 1.48 million. That's been boosted by our fundraise in April and May of 2.17 million, which we're going to use to expand our sales, engineering and R&T teams and progress the company in 2021 and beyond. But you know, the most exciting thing is the traction we've managed to maintain and continue into 2021, especially the customer acquisition that David has talked about, not only in the NHS but in the commercial world as well. So I think that's a useful summary of 2020 and prospects for 2021.